Hello my beautiful badgers, Mexico back again with another live dev interview, this time with Procedural Worlds' very own Adam Goodrich, as we're playing about with Gaia Pro 2021. So sit back and join, I'll see you all in a second. Everyone's sitting at home in front of their Amazon mirrors, their Google Watches, their Alexas and the fancy microwave PCs. Give a warm and messy welcome to Adam Goodrich from Procedural Worlds, procedural legend and world creator extraordinaire. Welcome back to the stream, buddy.
Hey mate, how's it going? Nice to talk to you again. Are we streaming or is it still private?
No, we're live. Don't say fudge or bugger.
Okay, better not then. So
we've been chatting for many years, and I've never once heard of you going off and running off to having a barbecue or throwing a shrimp on the barbie.
Well, I do love my barbies. It's more of a steak on the barbie. Although we have a an annual Christmas Eve feast, and we invite a bunch of people over. And yes, then we do chuck shrimps on the barbie.
You love your baseball or something, don't you?
Yep. I'm a huge baseball fan, and my sons all play it with me, and two of my sons play at rep and state level, which is pretty cool. In fact, yesterday it's my one thing that I do every week that means that I don't think about Procedural Worlds and all of the fun stuff that goes along with that.
Are you telling me that while you're watching the baseball games, you're not there looking at the mound and going, I think I could procedurally generate the perfect baseball pitch?
No, in fact, all I'm doing is playing the game and enjoying a few beers with some mates afterwards. That's my me time every week. And then having my my sons and my wife there as well, that's just, the nice stuff on top.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, though, haven't you, mate? Because you need the downtime. You need something to unwind and release all of that wonderful stress that comes from the day job.
Yes.
The bizarre thing is that people would expect that your day job is a dream come true because you get to work on Procedural Worlds full time to make tools to make games. It's what every little teenage boy and girl dreams of doing as their job, and that and being a superhero, obviously. But it's not all it cut out to be when you've got to pay the wages at the end of the day and deal with the accountant, I imagine.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting observation. Mostly it's fantastic. I don't go into the corporate world and, get on a train or whatever to go to work every day. I just step from one room to the other, which is both good and bad. And yeah, I get to work with this amazingly talented team of super cool people doing really cool stuff. And also it's, fantastic when I see also how people are using our technology as well. And you see the creativity. And you also see the joy that people get out of bringing their stuff to life. But the other side of that is you also need to pay the bills. And that can be quite stressful because we actually do run quite a significant team behind the scenes at Procedural Worlds. And asset store sales often don't match up with the weekly or the monthly salary of our staff. So that stuff does give me a bit of stress. And the other interesting thing about growing a team is that once upon a time I was deep and hands-on in every single piece of tech that we have. Now I'm sort of more providing feedback and providing guidance and maybe direction about where we want to go, rather than getting my hands dirty. And that's it's both good and bad, because I quite like getting my hands down into the details and, experimenting with cool techniques to bring something to life. But it's a mixed bag.
It also means that you get to see things from a different perspective. Like now, whereas before you're in the forest amongst the trees. Oh, see that trees, Gaia? You know what I did there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Right. But now
You're right.
you're a step back. You're above, looking at a larger picture. So you see from the same forest, but a different perspective. So you see what could be missing from a different angle, or a different use case, or a different opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. And I also, oh, sorry, that was me sticking up Twitch in the background so I can see if we're, what we're actually streaming. Yeah, I do have a different perspective on it, and I have to have like a business perspective. Otherwise, we go out of business. And it is interesting. And, the stuff we do with professional studios as well is also something that's becoming more and more frequent. And that's a lot of fun too. Just seeing something going from nothing to something amazing in a short amount of time. And, you know, showing how our tools can be used to accelerate, the entire development pipeline. That's interesting as well. And then I look at this from a perspective of how do we get from touching several million Unity developers to, well, in the nicest possible way, to to reaching out to hundreds of millions of users. And we're working on doing that as well.
When you're talking about reaching out and touching, we
have to keep this, it's family friendly.
It's family friendly, of course. But Unity still has the largest user base of these. You've got Unreal, which is really catching up now. You've got Godot, or Godot, however you're supposed to pronounce it, and a few miscellaneous.
Yeah.
The Unity's still the biggest pond, with everyone swimming in.
By far.
But it feels now that there's a lot of people. So there's not that many new customers, but a lot more competition on the store now.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's a interesting space. We see people coming in, and we even have people ripping off our IP from time to time, which is always fun. So yeah, you as a company with a staff and people that need to be paid, I'm very aware of what's coming and keeping an eye out on what's coming so that we can navigate the opportunity, I suppose you could say. But the other side of that is, the asset store is an interesting place. It can be incredibly awesome and lucrative, but for many people it isn't. So that's something that it's sort of cool, because somebody comes in and they might live in a country that has a very low cost or overhead in terms of cost of living, and they drop something on the store for $20, and then what they find is, okay, they get a bit of fame, but then they didn't make the ongoing money they needed to stay in business. So then those assets become vaporware and they just disappear. So that's an interesting challenge, I think, that the asset store ecosystem as a whole needs to navigate. People need to be able to actually make a living out of this.
Yeah, definitely. My one pet peeve with Gaia and GeNa on the asset store is the fact that it said like Gaia Pro 2021, brand new asset that's come out, updated, yet there's 1,311 reviews on the store, and that's because of how Unity works. I mean, I'm very vocal in that these kind of things is misleading and confusing to me. I mean, how can something that's new have 572 reviews? But that's Unity. Like if you've updated your asset and you're then moving it to the newer version, it carries with it all of the historical metadata with it. You have to deprecate the original one. Should you deprecate an asset and then upgrade it so that it's a fresh start? If you do that, it then hinders the upgrade path of somebody who has that previous asset. He can no longer upgrade to the new one. We know that, or not as a problem. Not everyone knows about this problem. That some people think that it's the asset store publishers, not just Procedural Worlds that have this issue. It's all over the asset store. But have Unity even vocalized that this is an issue? Do they even care? And isn't there a possible alternative that you could do to help with this kind of like misleading info that we're thrust upon us?
Yeah, so we are on the Unity Asset Store board. So we're one of a very small bunch of publishers that Unity get together, and we talk internally once a month usually. And I know they are doing a lot of work to improve the publisher side of the asset store, as well as the front end and the front facing. This particular issue, it's an interesting one. We don't have any choice, obviously, when we launch a product and if we use the upgrade system so that we can give a discount to people, then this all comes with it. And it's both good and bad, because you get people that love your stuff, and then you get people that hate your stuff. And as a publisher, I've got a review on GeNa Pro that was based on somebody that really did not like us in GeNa, and it's now there on GeNa Pro. It's got nothing to do with the new product. So it's a positive and negative thing. I don't know. I've been in the asset store since 2015, so I can't comment to what the rationale was for copying them across. It's everybody. It's not something publishers have anything that we can do to control it, and I don't know specifically what Unity's plans are with this. Another interest, so the whole concept of deprecation is an interesting one. So, you can see there's a whole bunch of Gaias there. That's because they cover different versions of Unity. We've got our new Gaia Pro 2021, which is it's basically 2020.3, so 2020 LTS and the 2021 release cycle. And we still need to leave Gaia Pro in there because that covers 2019.3 up to 2021.3. So it's an interesting conundrum. We could just deprecate stuff, but then people hate us. Then if we do an upgrade, then people hate us, and so it feels like a catch-22. The way we try and deal with this is we just try and do what we think is fair for the majority of people. So, for example, Gaia Pro 2021, we launched that about 2 weeks ago or something like that, and we made it a free upgrade for anybody that bought Gaia Pro in the previous 4 months. So, it's not everybody publisher is required to do that. We just try and do what we think is the best thing for most people.
I love that you went into saying the differences between, because I was going to ask you that question. Like, what's the difference between Gaia Pro 2021, and then you've got Gaia 2. So that clears that one up. That takes that one off my list. So if I'm still using 2019, which I love, I'm using Gaia Pro, and if I'm able to use 2020, then I'm over here on 2021. Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the approach we take is, and we don't particularly enforce this, but we certainly publicly state it, is we have a version of our product that's in line with a release cycle for Unity. So there you can see, what we're saying in Gaia Pro 2021 is our commitment is to develop and support this over the 2021 release cycle. we get a lot of feedback from customers. They go, well, why should we pay you, an upgrade? Well, because Unity breaks our stuff every 5 minutes and we continue to develop the product and the team still need to be paid. So our approach to upgrades, and it's the reason we can stay in business, is we actually charge for them. That said, Gaia Pro was out there for 2 years without an upgrade, and Gaia has been out there since 2015, so getting on to 7 years, and it's only just gotten its first upgrade. So there's now a Gaia 2021 as well.
People are asking what is the difference, the tech difference between the two, what cool new features. We're going to share Adam's screen, and he's going to play and show us some sexy new toys that's inside Gaia Pro 2021.
Just before you do that, click on Gaia Pro 2021, because people ask what's the difference. So if you just click on the asset store there and look at the description. So there we go. Look at that new stuff.
There you go. Big bold. Big bold and bullet points. Everyone loves bullet points.
I find it quite surprising. People go, what's the difference? And I'm going, did you look? So there's the difference. So we've got a new world designer, which I'll demonstrate. We've got a new accelerated grass and detail system. Currently, HDRP will shortly be launching, probably within the next week, URP. And then built-in, where we're built in, it's really interesting. All of our stuff now is HDRP first, and then URP, and then maybe built-in, because of the way Unity has done all of the render pipelines and the way in which you have to build shaders for them. For us, this is exceptionally difficult to support. So we've just gone, right, well, we'll stick with the latest and we'll do the coolest things we can. And that's actually what most of our customers do. Unless you're a professional studio, then you tend to stick with an LTS release. So that's what we've done here. Is this new stuff works from the LTS 2020 onwards. So Grass is awesome, and I'll show you that in a minute. Photo mode is really cool. This, you see photo mode in games, and you hit the F11 button and you can control all the aspects of Unity, and you can actually see, because we've got a FPS meter in there, you can see the impact and performance of the settings you make. So as a developer, that's a really powerful tool as well, because you can tweak your scenes and get some real-time feedback on the impact of what it is you're doing to your frame rate. World space masks. This is just the ability to do masks in world space as well as in local space. We've got to build a cool little terrain addition and deletion tool. Biome-based stamping. So Gaia works via this concept of stamping. Now you can build that stamp concept into your spawner settings with your biome as well, which is really cool. So let's say we select and we place trees in a certain part of our scene. We could do things like run a stamp through a mask, which will raise the ground a bit underneath the trees or underneath a fence or whatever. So that's really cool, because basically you use your overall, you build your general terrain, and then you refine the terrain based on what content you put on top of it. Terrain stitching, that's another useful new feature. Basically, when the scenes load, Gaia will stitch them for you. We've done a bunch more work on the APIs, and then there's lots and lots of little fixes and tweaks and modifications. So all in all, it's a pretty significant release.
It does sound very tasty. Before you share your screen, I'm going to read through a couple of things in chat, and it's one thing that Yolan likes to bring up and remind everyone that the 4 months principle. Somebody in chat, someone complained in Discord they were 4 months and 1 day. Yes, we all remember this. The 4 months and literally 1 day. It was that day of the 4 month threshold. Icetastic says, I've just checked and I got Gaia Pro 4 months and 15 days ago. Well, I hope you already upgraded. Although 15 days, you're out of luck. It happened similar to me with GeNa 2. Adam sent me a voucher after he found out about it. There you go. It was you, Sandy, wasn't it? James from Dark Dungeon Studio says, I got Gaia Pro when it first released and I've only used it 3 times. I'm so disappointed in myself. You should be ashamed, James. You should be ashamed. Freshie says, I want to get this just for the grass.
Oh, the grass is cool.
Distant Temple says, it seems like you wait till there's a sale. So when you set the release price, which is reduced for the release, you can get it on sale of your release price. I'm trying to understand that.
It's an interesting thing. I asked Unity if we could bring Gaia Pro 2021 into the sale, and for whatever reason it never happened. So what we've done is if you get Gaia Pro, there's a very generous discount to update to Gaia Pro 2021 for the sale. Yeah. So get Gaia Pro while it's on sale, and then you've got Gaia Pro, which gives you that, back to 2019.3. Then upgrade to Gaia Pro 2021, and it's at a reduced price. We'll increase that price after the sale.
Cool. Denver Cool says, with Flora, I technically would no longer need something like Nature Renderer or GPU instancing, correct? Or do I understand how that works well?
Well, it's a good question. Technically, no. What we try to do with Gaia Pro is it's our hero product. So we bring new stuff into there. Our intention is to release Flora as a separate product afterwards, but we want to round out its functionality a bit more first. So yeah, the idea with Flora, you basically get really lovely mesh grasses. It's all instance in direct, so it runs pretty quick. We're adding in, you've got HDRP support at the moment, we're adding in URP support. We'll also be adding in tree support as well. So basically all of your vegetation, which is generated with Gaia or GeNa, will run in an accelerated way. So the upshot is you get a scene that runs much better.
Nice. We do like performance increases, don't we?
Yeah.
We like to have massive worlds.
Yeah, and particularly, if you look at the cost of some of these other systems, you're now getting that integrated into Gaia Pro as well. And it's all integrated. So I guess that's one of the benefits of having a product and a company that, has this range of stuff that it can do. It basically means it is designed to work together.
We've also got Brian from Procedural Worlds in the chat. Hi, Brian. Otherwise known as SS Night Shadow. How you doing?
Brian, our legendary support person who puts up is not the right word, but sometimes it is. who valiantly supports our customer base and does a good job.
Talking about people in chat, we've got Irish John. Irish, give me a shout out to Irish. You've already done a shout out. Thank you, Fresh Mate. Irish John's in the house. Lovely. Icelandic says the upgrade price is not that bad at all for 2021 version. No, it's not. Gaia Pro to Gaia Pro 2021 is $70 USD, and it will go up after the sale, says Brian.
Yes.
It says also Gaia 2 to Gaia Pro 2021 is, he believes, $150 to upgrade, and that price will increase as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it'll go to. We'll see afterwards. I haven't thought so much about the Gaia to Gaia Pro or Gaia Pro 2021 upgrade. All right, shall I show you some stuff?
Show me it. Show me what you've got. Show me what you've got under the kilt.
All righty, let's have a peek under my kilt. So this is the new workflow inside of Gaia Manager. It basically looks much like your old workflow, except you can still do the old stamper workflow, but now you can do the new world designer workflow, which I love.
Can I ask you before you go into Shona, is it for a newbie who hasn't used any of the Gaias, what would you recommend out of those two workflows?
World designer, it's so cool. It's actually I've been going to do tutorials and I'm going, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to have to make that world. Instead of getting on and doing the tutorial, I go and make the world and then I run around in it. So it's actually the world designer is really, really good. I love it.
And have we just worked out? Because at the beginning you were saying about how it's a shame how you don't get your hands dirty under the bonnet anymore, tinkering away. But now we've just discovered, because you've got, the team are doing a lot of the heavy lifting now. You get to just make fun worlds and run around playing instead.
Sometimes, yeah.
The truth is out, Adam. We've got you now.
Yeah, yeah. No, Peter is the genius behind a lot of the stuff you see here in Gaia Pro, and he's just done an incredible job with it. Don't even need to get my hands dirty with Gaia Pro anymore. All right. So, would you like to see some of this stuff?
So
you've
got worlds? So you got world size, and what's the largest that world size can go up to now? And has that increased in previous versions?
Can be massive. Like I could go. Let's go 100. By 100.
Jesus, Marion.
There you've got a visualization there. So now we've got 100. Where is it? Shows it here somewhere.
Your tile height's a K, 1024, 100 by 100.
Yeah. So 100 square kilometers basically. I haven't, this sort of stuff. This is something that people need to be aware of. Is game engines aren't particularly great at large environments. And so here we've got 100 square kilometers. And let's say you do build a massive environment. So, technically speaking, you could do this. You'd be stupid. Well, no, you wouldn't be stupid, but, you'd just be prepared to come back in a while. Well, here we go. Unity's even just the visualization Unity doesn't like.
Oh my word.
Because that's 10 million. Well, what is it? And Unity doesn't even like the visualization. So let me just, oh God, now Unity's having a moment. But yeah, Gaia Pro will happily chunk through this stuff and do it for you. Unity is just literally having a moment.
You're gonna need to.
And it's your
F4.
fault.
I never told you go to 1,000 by 1,000. I was heavily impressed with 100 by 100. You had me there.
Yeah.
Nibble says a million meters squared. Can I ask, is Ambient Skies part of Gaia Pro original 2021, or is it still worth buying as a separate add-on? Key question: is it still worth buying separately if he has Gaia Pro 2021? And my question is, Barrett, if you are you doing HDRP or the normal? So if someone was using Gaia 2021 HDRP, is it worth their while buying Ambient Skies? Now pretend that you're not making money off this, Adam, and you want to be honest.
Oh look, I personally love the lighting that comes with Gaia. We've done quite a nice lighting system with Gaia. We started with Ambient Skies. We took some of that stuff into Gaia Pro. The biggest benefit you'd get from Ambient Skies now is there's a whole bunch of post-processing profiles. But if you've got Gaia Pro, I don't see any overwhelming reason to get Ambient Skies. Ambient sounds is a different. Gaia Pro has a nice sound system in it as well. We procedurally place sound into your environment, and it has a range and so on. But ambient sounds is a different type of system, so that is, I think, a valid and useful product to purchase, because you have so much control over your soundscape. But yeah, Ambient Skies, if you've got Gaia Pro, you've already got a very powerful and lovely sky system.
Lovely. There you go. Save your money. Save your money on Ambient Skies and buy Ambient Sounds instead.
Yeah.
Talking about people saving their money, give me an exclamation mark proc shop in chat, and you'll notice that Procedural Worlds have their own store now.
Yes. Yep. You can buy packages off of our store. You can. So basically, like the World Generation pack, we give you a 15% discount, I think, on our largest all products pack. And then the other benefit to us of having these is the 30% that we'd give to Unity actually goes back to the development team. So it's just a little bit, makes it just a little bit easier for us to stay in business.
We got a question from a gypsy. Is the Snap Builder asset still in production, or was it snapped? Thanos style.
Snap Builder. We have something very, very special we're working on. It's a product we call Connect, and it's basically much like Gaia makes massive worlds or amazing worlds for you. Connect makes MMOs for you, and Snap Builder and GeNa Pro are sort of the best of those two products are being merged together to give you runtime, social, collaborative world generation. And so yes, it's under active development, and that product, we won't release it onto the asset store, but you're more than welcome to come and talk to us about it. Well, literally, when we get it to where we want it to be, you'll be able to stand up an MMO with things like voice chat, text chat, dynamic or user customizable menus, user customizable action bar, avatar support, and literally you'll be able to stand that up in a day. And basically you create your beautiful Gaia world and add Connect to it, and boom, away you go. Where we want to go to that is you'll actually be able to come to our shop and literally purchase it and provision it all in the one go. And we're not that far away from having that ready to go. So yes, Snap Builder is coming together nicely, and the runtime editing is going to be pretty special.
Lovely jubbly. Right,
yes.
Now, do not make 1,000 by 1,000 world.
Yes, that's a really good idea because it runs faster if I just do it smaller. But let's do 2 by 2, so we'll have 4 terrains. So at least I can show you the work.
Importantly, we don't need sector for the terrain streaming now.
No, streaming is built into Gaia Pro. In fact, in this little wizard here, and we don't turn streaming on for small scenes, but if you were to type, I'm going to make it a smaller 20, it will automatically say, hey, do you want us to create your terrain as separate scenes, unload them so you don't have it all in memory at the same time, and then set up the floating point fix. So these things basically set up streaming automatically. But let's just go back to 2 by 2 and we'll turn off all the streaming and that sort of stuff because we don't need it. So the cool thing about this is you don't even need to care about it, and you don't actually need sector if you've got Gaia Pro. If you want to do more sophisticated streaming, like you might, so the way Gaia approaches streaming is it breaks every terrain up into a separate scene, and it streams it terrain by terrain, and also culls terrain by terrain. But for something like, let's say you had a big dungeon or some really complex set of structures that you only load on demand, Gaia won't handle that. It'll basically bring everything in with your scene. Whereas something like sector, that's where you've got that ability to go into finer grain control over the streaming. All right, so how about I demonstrate this, because I'm big talking.
Do it.
All right, create world designer, big reveal.
And in chat, Brian's answering a lot of questions so that we don't have to. And how do I get video quality in Twitch higher than 640? Should be bottom right hand corner, a little cog that you press. One of the mods could hopefully point in the right direction there. 3D Forge. Give me a exclamation mark 3D Forge in chat, by the way. How you doing, buddy? All right.
Actually, I won't do it. I'll just show it to you, then I'll show another way of doing this. Let's just randomize our stamps. So what we've done here, shall I continue on? Or are you still talking? All right, cool.
I'm in awe.
So we've got this is the new world designer. We have a world settings section where you can change your size and so on. You can actually do that in real time in here. You can change your target platform, the biome you're going to spawn, give it a seed. Then you've got your world shape. So are you going to be surrounded by water or by mountains? Let's go back to water. This is the sort of the raw foundation of your environment. So you notice this is fairly flat. I'll show you this again in a second with just one terrain, because then it does it all in real time for you. But yeah, how you're going to generate. This is like your, if you're doing a really large environment, this would be like the shape of your continent. And while we can generate that from you, we can also pull your underlying shape from an existing terrain, or you can feed in an image. So imagine you created a grayscale image of your overall continent because you've got a map that you particularly want to make. This system will handle that. What we do then is on top of this, so in this case, we're doing it randomly. Then you can actually go in and change, how high it is. We're basically using noise and different types of noises to give you the underlying shape of the terrain. And you can change all those sorts of features, gets a lot more detail and so on and so on. And then what we do is once we've got your basic world shape, and I'll zoom back out here, I noticed that the camera offset isn't quite right on my computer. Then there's the world detail. So what we've got, as you know, Gaia uses this concept of stamps to apply shapes to terrain. So what we're going to do is choose a bunch of stamps. And these are the rules by which we choose the stamps that we apply to your terrain. And this is all completely customizable. So let's randomize my stamps. Boom. Now you notice that we're only showing you part of the world. So let's zoom in here. There is just that one bit of the world that we've generated for you. Now the idea behind this is if you've got a large world, you can't show all this stuff at once. And it's really, because there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to generate this stuff. But I'll just show it to you anyway. Boom. So that's what Gaia's just randomly generated for us. Then if I hit the randomized stamps again, and then just render the full preview again. And this is why I'm going to do it as a single terrain, because it's actually easier to see. But yeah, Gaia is basically based on these settings, giving you a different environment, and it's really it's rather damn awesome because you start to go, whoa, this is really good. Now I'll just quickly create a new scene and I'll make it one terrain by one terrain because then you'll be able to see this stuff in real time. And just imagine that if you've got much bigger environments, you'll see more of it. So let's just quickly new scene, create.
While you're doing that, I'm trying to check to see. Pretty Forge says that our stream quality isn't very good today.
I'm watching it in the other window and it seems to be okay.
Does it look good to you?
Well, it's a little bit blurry. It's not 100% as nice as my screen, but then Twitch, we're basically compressing what's on my screen, sending it to you, then you're recompressing it and sending it to people. And so we've got two different, there's a lot of tech magic going on here.
Yeah, my settings look like they're okay. Hardware, then compatible. Video bitrate 2905, it says here. I don't know if that's good or bad now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop the stream and start again. If it hands up in chat if everyone's happy with the picture quality. If you can read can you read the text in chat, everyone? Can you read it? I am also recording it so that when I upload it to YouTube, it will be the higher quality version. So on the YouTube, you will be able to read any text that you can't read here. If that helps you all at home. Can read. Right. I'm okay, everyone says. Brilliant. We'll edit that out when we go into YouTube then. Over to you, Mr. Procedural Worlds.
Back to me. All right. So yeah, what I've just done here is I've randomly generated. This time it's just a 1 kilometer terrain, just in the spirit of showing you very quickly how this stuff works. So I can randomize this again, and it'll give me another terrain and another terrain, and then I can sort of go in and say, okay, well let's decrease the frequency of planes, decrease that. Maybe put more mountains in there, randomize again.
Do you know what I love? I love that slidey because I can understand that. When you have to start worrying about splat maps and everything.
Yeah, slidey things are cool. The other thing we do here, if I show my object handles here, what we've done is we've put in some assets from the actual, an actual from the assets that we would spawn into your system, just to give you a sense of the scale. So, when you're setting up your settings and you're deciding whether you want, the great thing about this is you can now see how that fits in with the overall layout of your scene.
Helpful. That is
extremely helpful.
I don't think we really appreciate that. That was missing before.
Yeah, it certainly helps a lot. So let's just randomize. Well, actually, this time I'm going to randomize all. So this all, at the moment, I've got some settings here. If I go randomize all, it'll just go completely random and change things. And this is what I sort of love about this new system, is what it comes up with is stuff that I would have never have imagined being able to do myself. And this is where I've had these issues where I've gone, you know what? I'm going to just create that and play with it instead of make tutorial videos. Get these really interesting environments. So let's say we're going to go with this one. So I'm going to hit generate world. Yep. So now Gaia is actually applying all of those operations for you, and it's just run a texture spawn on it so you can get a sense of that. Boom. We're still showing you the visualization of the ocean, but if I go back to my Gaia manager here, which I had off screen, I'm now going to just create my runtime, and I love doing this because all of a sudden your environment goes from this to this. Magic to pretty.
What was that? What was that secret message that just came up? Did we just sell our firstborn child?
Let's see. What we do is this is all optional. So you don't have to do any of this stuff. We put it in there as much as anything else to make it easy for us. But this is all wizard-based stuff just to make it easy for you to do things. So when we go update runtime, what we basically do is we look at what you've selected here. And remember, you can turn all this stuff off as well. And we say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to tweak your lighting, quick light bake, put in the water, add in some audio, put a player in there, add the screenshotter, and add our location manager, which is a bookmarking tool, which is rather damn cool as well. And we go, yeah, okay, do it. And it'll do it for you. So, that just sets up a whole bunch of stuff for you, which otherwise you would have had to do yourself. So we've integrated a lot of an XR controller from Unity, some of the old stuff from the standard assets pack, just to make it easy for you to get into different types of cameras and controllers. We can choose the different lighting that we apply to this, and we've got our presets. Then, do you want post-processing added for you? Do you want a quick light bake done? What sort of water would you like? Standard, low poly, none. Do you want underwater effects with that? Do you want some wind? What about some audio? Do you want a screenshotting system? Or what about a location manager? So this is stuff that we add. These are all what I would call value adds, but they've sort of become also a really powerful part of the system. And a lot of people just, use this because it's useful. All right. Now, remember we're in HDRP. So let's do some magic. By default, it will automatically select your biome spawner. And a biome is basically a bunch of spawners which apply different types of assets into your scene. So let's go spawn. Now, Gaia is doing a huge amount of work for you. We're adding in some 3D forged villages. We're adding in a bunch of stones, some mushrooms, some trees, some bushes, some ferns. These things are all, before you do your spawn, by the way, you can disable these things. So we've provided a bunch of samples. You don't need to do them. And of course, you can customize and create your own spawners to add any asset you like. So,
there's no change in the previous way the spawners work to this one. It's if you made a spawner or customized a spawner before, it's same as no change. Nothing new to learn or worry about. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And it's interesting. I'm seeing some. I'm actually using the current dev release of the next release, and I'm seeing some warnings here, which I'll ask the guys to look at. It's not causing a problem. It's just we shouldn't even be getting it. So just ignore that. You didn't see that.
No.
All right. So we will now run this. So let's go play.
I remember it, one asset publisher when met with about 50 or 60 odd warnings in their asset replied, "They're not errors, so you should ignore them and move on," which I think is a great response.
Yeah, yeah. I look, this is that one there. That's actually a Unity bug. So who knows what that's supposed to be doing? But yeah, let's go and have a look here of what we've got going on in HDRP. So I'm going to maximize my screen. A lot of flowers in this scene. So what's happened here? This is completely all messed up. I installed an update this morning, and
Very pretty flowers.
it's completely buggered up my biome. So serves me right for doing an update before a demo and not. That's why I was getting all those errors. Something has broken. Pete, you're no longer the god of Gaia. This is not the impression I was trying to show.
It's going to
I'm
beat
going to
you
show
up.
you
You can't
this.
say that.
I'm going to show you this in another version of Gaia. But hey, before I do that, look, here's this environment we've created. I want to show you photo mode. So I'm going to hit F11.
All right, cool. As you move in, remember that because you're on Teams, I'm getting a bit of lag on the
All right.
on the thing. So when you move, give it a couple of seconds to then sharpen itself up again, and then I can see it. Yes, and Goku sees it as well. Lags. Yeah, exactly. It's a Teamsy. It's because we're sharing screen over Teams. So even you guys are getting an additional lag, but don't worry, I'm getting it as well.
Yeah. All right. So this is our new screenshotter setting. It's F11, and it's got a couple of default displays here. So you've got some grid lines. This is based on the idea of the rule of thirds. So if you're composing a screenshot, then you can use that to help compose your foreground, your midground, and your background, and so on. And then we've also got something that helps you see where you're looking. You can go in and turn these off, which I sort of kind of do every single time because they sort of block my view a bit. You can choose the size of your screenshots. So for your game, for example, if you want to create some, high definition screenshots, if you wanted to choose EXR, for example, then you'd get a high dynamic range screenshot as well, and a much higher bit depth in your screenshot. So, for doing hero shots, this is a really cool tool. So let's go back to our settings here. We can go and change our anti-aliasing. We can, we cull quite aggressively inside of Gaia to try and make this run better on a wide range of systems. So you can beef that up if you wanted to, put more stuff in, or you can pull it down, right? So, this is the cool thing about culling, right? You can actually see the stuff working. And this is what I love about this new thing is you get it to see a sense of what's going on. If you wanted to make this bit of a wider field of view, you can do that, which also for what you're trying to do, it can be really useful because you can also zoom into stuff as well. So I'll just stick that back to 60. And then you can, if you really wanted to, you could roll your camera as well. So again, just to create more of an artistic effect on your environment. Now, if you include this in your build, then this is available to your customers as well, so they can sort of play with it. So what about my next settings? I've got my audio. I'll just turn that down. In fact, I've already got it muted anyway, but it's my volume. I can change my LOD bias, so you can see as I'm increasing that, you can see how we cut things down, they're billboards, and then boom, we beef them out. So for screenshots, it's pretty cool. It had a bit of an impact on my frame rate, so that's really useful for you to know as a developer. Then I can change my shadow distance, maybe beef it out a bit further. This VSync does not work in edit mode inside of Unity, which is a bit tedious, but at runtime, it's great. I've got a demo of a Gaia Pro environment in HDRP, and it looks incredible, and it doesn't even spin up the fan on my GPU. So this VSync has a big impact on the performance of your game at runtime. Next, we've got, do the terrain settings. So, the little train icon there. This is how Unity terrains drawing. If you've got a terrain with lots of mountains and you want to go a beautiful screenshot, turn off the pixel error. This means Unity, so I drop it down to 1. This means Unity will render the terrain at the best possible definition, and it really picks out the details and the shadows. Base map is how far, it's just low-level Unity stuff. But then there's the grass. Now I'll come back to the grass in a sec. I want to change my light. So by default, these are the settings here. I'm going to override my sun, and this is one of my favorite things, right? Let's get a golden hour going in this scene. So I'll change my pitch. So my sun is over here, behind those clouds. So let's change our pitch, even drop it down a bit lower, so we get, really an interesting contrast between light and dark. And I'm going to increase my sun's intensity, because I always like more light in my scenes. It's a personal preference thing. And because we're aiming to be golden now, I'm going to drop make it more of a rich golden color. So all of a sudden, we've changed quite dramatically, the look of this scene. So that's one of my favorite things. Let's put in some fog. So I'm going to turn on my fog, drop that fog distance in, and you'll start to see it coming in the background. And it also blocks out the light too, because that's how fog in Unity HDRP works. So we brought in a bit of fog to this. Now the grass is not pushing out that far. I could also change my skybox. What the hell? Let's override our skybox. Maybe drop it down just a bit, because we're sort of simulating later in the day. And then, seems like there's not quite enough light in this scene. Maybe I dropped it down a bit too much. Just bring it up a bit. Adding a bit more light into your skybox has an impact of bringing that light into your scene. And then what else? Oh yeah, then there's the density volume. So this is the volumetric light that comes with Unity. So in HDRP. So now we can go, okay, let's make it a extreme haze, and we put this massive haze into our scene, and then we can sort of increase it. So we've just transformed our scene in a very, very small amount of time. We've got wind. Our wind in our trees and our grass is all in sync. Now, this is not the new grass you're seeing, actually, because this biome spawned completely messed up. You're seeing, we do 2 types of grass. Actually, I'll just crank up my wind while I'm at it. Haven't tested this yet personally, so let's see. Increase our wind up a bit. You'll see the wind start to kick in. But the cool thing is the grass and the trees are in sync. So if you've ever done wind with Unity, the Unity grass wind direction and strength is out of sync with any other grass wind you might have in your scene. So here you can see that everything is actually, let's really ramp up our wind. You can see the grass starting to respond, the wind, it's all going the same direction. Change the direction to the other direction, and you'll see it'll start to switch over. So this is pretty cool. This is some of the stuff that comes with this new tech. Let's drop that wind back down because it gets a bit overwhelming. So let's go and play. Let's say water settings.
So while you're playing with that, just got a question. Do we have these options when not in photo mode, or be able to save those settings to our current camera post-processing settings? So what you're doing now, you're in, as you can see, photo mode settings we're playing about.
Yeah.
Are these,
so
now if you click X, are they gone? How do we save it? How can we use this? Is there something we can hook into?
So at the moment, load last settings is enabled and reset when closed is enabled. So what that means is all these changes that I've just made to the lighting here will be abandoned when, like this is setting there, but reset when closed means we'll put the original stuff back. Load last settings means that when we go into this mode again, it'll remember these settings. But if we say reset when closed to disabled, it'll actually keep these settings when we close the window. So yeah, you can keep them. We don't have the ability at the moment, because it's runtime, to save that back into how your game looks. So that's sort of a cool thing. We might add that in a future release, because it seems like a good idea to me. There's nothing like looking at your game at runtime to really get a sense of how it's gonna operate and look in the real world. So yeah. So if I go out like this, boom, I'm back to my original lighting. I go back to photo mode again, and boom, there's the new lighting. So the thing I wanted to show you is
just while you're showing, just we've got in chat. I just got here and may have already been answered, but why is he getting like 5 FPS? So the FPS you're saying on the stream tells you there how much he's 54. Like when Adam closed that settings and it opened it up again, he got hit and it went down to 26. He's sharing his screen to me on Teams, so I'm getting the Teams screen share delay, so it's low latency and it's laggy on that. So I'm losing a lot of the quality, and then you're getting that stream from me as well. So, but
yeah.
To you, Adam, how does the grass look like it's moving nicely to you on your screen?
Yeah. Yeah, on my screen, it's waving nicely in the wind. The frame rate is deceptive because you've got to remember we're running inside the Unity editor as well. And the Unity editor adds a huge amount of overhead. So as I mentioned before, when I made a build, this thing ran silky smooth. And actually, I don't want to run at 120 frames generally because that means I'm absolutely thrashing the computer that it's running on. So by using VSync, you're actually using less power and less overhead on the computer you're running on, which for your customers is probably a very desirable thing. But the beauty of this system, and we could have gone, oh, we don't want you to see the frame rate because that could reflect badly. Well, it doesn't. Your frame rate is purely dependent on what you do with your scene, how much density of vegetation and so on you add. It's the designer's choice to optimize their scene. This thing is a tool that will let you see the impact of the choices you make. Like there's another thing I quite like. Let's turn on depth of field, enable, boom. It does have an impact. It's currently what's dropped it by a frame, 2 frames. Now, depending on the mode you choose with your depth of field, this has a big impact as well. What happens when I increase to high quality denser field? Boom, I've just lost a bunch of frames.
Oh,
Is
wow.
that because Gaia's a crappy system? No, it's because of how Unity's stuff works. So let's go back to medium. We'll bring those frames back. And then, I love the fact that we can, if you watch the background there, I'll bring that in and start to see, maybe even bring that in. We're starting to do more blur in the background. If I go to physical camera, I can actually then choose where my depth of field is. So my focus distance is there. If we change our focal length, so you can see I'm really blurring it out, but let's go and focus on one of these buildings here. I can choose to control exactly how this is rendering in my scene. And you can get some really incredible effects. So you see that's bright, nice and in focus there. If I decrease my focal length, I'll get more stuff in focus. I can change my aperture and that influences how it works as well. And then I can push my, where am I going to focus? So I love this, but there is a cost, right? And that's the reality of game development. You as game developers, you need to own your craft. Autofocus is rather cool too. Depending on what you're looking at, it'll automatically focus on where you are looking in the scene. So this is another great example of something where you can modify your settings. Now the last thing I'll do, I'll turn that depth of field off again. Beep. And the last thing I wanted to show you was actually our grass settings. So this is going to hit particularly in edit mode, and also because of the fact that my biome got mangled when I copied out of our dev thing before this. Let's increase our grass distance. So I'm going to set that to 2. Boom. And now we pushed our grass way back out.
Oh, nice.
Did you notice my computer suddenly fall over? No. That's our new Flora instance indirect grass system running. It's really, really lovely. Let's maybe push it out to 3. And then that grass is now going quite out. Now you notice when I turn that I'll lose frames. This is because we've got dynamic reflection probes in our scene, and we basically update your reflection probes for water and that sort of thing when you're moving. But it's actually, you won't see this because I'm just zooming through. It generally runs pretty nicely.
Barrack says, this is something I think Procedural Worlds does really well. They expose existing Unity functionality for people who don't usually delve into the editor settings. Exactly, and the whole point is making game development, especially Unity, more easy to use, approachable for somebody who hasn't spent months looking through the obscure manuals of how to do this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always our approach. We try to do standard Unity as much as possible. It's interesting. I turned around quite some time ago. It's only just appearing on the stream now. We give you, like, if let's say you wanted to use our stuff with some other asset, no problemo. We don't mind. Just go for it. Because we do use standard Unity as much as possible, then that stuff just works.
So Goku's asking, can you have 360 field of view for 360 pictures?
Well, yeah. I don't know how it's going to affect all the Unity settings, but let's. There's 115 degrees field of view. The stream will catch up in a sec. So there are tools that do 360 degree field of view stuff. Particularly for VR-based rendering. We don't particularly do anything to support that, but we don't do anything to stop supporting it either. So if your third-party asset that does that works, and if Unity's post-processing and everything else works, then sure, that should be fine.
Saying 360 is important for me. Quite a few people asking for that then. Dan V. Cool says, I noticed I have no use for Aura 2 since getting Gaia Pro 2023. Dan V. Cool's gone into the future. Oh my word. Yolin's explaining that 360 is important. It's good for VR optimizations. I think I didn't really know much about that. Sanyo's saying something that I thought of when I first saw this the other day, that this photo session stuff would go hand in hand with Pegasus. Have you already integrated Pegasus and photo session tool together, or is it coming?
Pegasus works with whatever camera you've got in your scene. So if you photo mode, really, that's just tweaking the Unity settings and allowing you to customize how it looks. It'd be interesting to do, right? This would be great to be able to then just plug GeNa into this Pegasus and just create these, these fly-throughs where we're even changing the field of view and the depth of field settings and all that stuff in a dynamic way.
Yeah.
It would be cool, but we haven't done anything specific with it yet.
Can't wait to see it then.
Yeah, you can see what I've done here. In just a small amount of time, we've randomly generated an interesting little world. This one didn't have much in the way of mountains in it, but still a nice world. I apologize for the grass. Well,
you've got your build. You've still got your build you can show off.
I'll show the build. How about I do that?
Instead of berating poor Pete with his hard work that he's been doing with that one bad dev version, he's crying into his cornflakes now.
Yeah.
I'll wait for you to load the build up so we can show off. Pete, Ryan's there laughing hysterically at home watching the stream. Gypsy says, Gaia 2023 will be able to push one button. It will ask what kind of game do you want, and then it will produce it for you, and then it will make a cup of tea for you as well. Added on to that. Black Magic UK, sad flakes, exactly, sad flakes. All right, are you?
I am ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teams keeps on having the silly. There we go. Now it's gone. So HDRP grass. First things first. Foliage and grass in a real 3D shape that isn't a billboard and doesn't destroy your computer is what I've been crying for many, many years.
Yeah.
Do we have it now, Adam?
Well, yes, we do. In fact, I'm looking at it. In this particular version, we noticed that at runtime I couldn't change the density. So unfortunately, I can't dial the density up, but I'll push more of it out onto the screen. So here we go. We've got our scene that I just randomly generated. And, here's some of this nice new grass. We have a bunch of stuff in the grass, which unfortunately in this build I didn't do, but this was just an internal thing that I was just mucking around with. So I'm going to go into my photo mode here and just quickly change my time of day and change the look of this thing. So first thing is this rule of thirds seemed like a really cool idea, but I find it a bit annoying already. So let's go through. That's good.
Can't you go into the code and just change the default settings so it's always turned off?
This is a build. So yes, of course you can go into the code,
cool.
but I've already built it, so it's a bit late now.
Well, I can't help you with your builds, mate. But I'm just noticing you've got a mixture of billboard grass and 3D grass.
Yes, and so what we did is if you've got, we've got a new 3D grass and we've got this really beautiful stuff that we've been working on. In fact, if you just pause the screen for a sec, I'll actually show you a screenshot, but I need to go into secret places first. So let me just find it.
Backmage says, I'm using HDRP, so this may sell it for me.
Well, let me just show a beauty shot, and I'm going to download that.
Skiwi says, wait, were these photo mode icons shown earlier made by T.Y. Zanders? Who's T.Y. Zanders?
I have no idea. Oh, yes, they were actually. Yes, they were. Interesting that you would know that. Ty Zanders is one of our friends.
Nice, says Skiwi.
And he is a very, very talented dude. So I'm just downloading. Maybe if I just increase the size, here we go.
I love how your initial response is always, don't know what you're talking about, mate. And, oh, yeah, it is.
I know, it's, yeah.
Right. Okay. You might want to zoom in on
that. Again.
Yeah, zoom in on that because you've got your friends list in the background.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good idea. I'll just save the image.
See what I do for you?
Oh, you're the bomb.
Yeah, I'm semi-professional. It's not the first time that the word semi has been linked with me.
Here we go. Right. Now share that.
Now share. That looks pretty.
That is wonderful, isn't it? And guess what render pipeline that is?
Built in.
Nope. You got 2 left.
Is it HDRP, Adam?
No.
It's not. Is it URP?
It's URP.
Oh my word! It was the last one.
So this is, yeah, you almost got it. So this is coming real soon, within the next week. It's, as you can see, it's already actually working. We're still tweaking it and optimizing it and so on. But it's really rich and dense and lovely.
Talking about dense, you told me before when we were having a cup of tea and a chocolate digestive about the undergrowth. And by that I don't mean empires of the undergrowth of the game. I mean a core thing that makes the difference when you're seeing grass and then just terrain and then it just feels wrong because something's missing, and that is the undergrowth.
Yeah, well, that's a really interesting thing, right? If you look at this scene, if this was all really high poly grass, your GPU would just die. So what we're actually doing is we're building up a lower story in the grass. So if I look in here, you can see there are smaller pieces of grass lower down in the scene. Then you've got, really high, quite high resolution grass up close. And then what we're actually doing is, this is lot 0, then we're sort of dropping out to a much lower resolution grass out there, but it still appears to be quite bushy. So the understory, for example, the stuff that adds the interest when you look down and into the grass, that is not being rendered out there. It's only being rendered here. So we've actually built the grass up in terms of layers that have different performance characteristics. So that, from the player's perspective, it looks like this grass is lush and it goes out for miles and miles. In fact, it's this stuff up close where we've got these different layers that's high poly, and then all of this stuff is super low poly.
And we don't need to use Veg Studio or Veg Engine or Nature Renderer for this stuff.
Well, you still can if you want to, but you don't need to, no, because it's built into Gaia now. And our spawning systems, I think, are very powerful, and you can automate that whole process. So once you've got a biome, you can just apply it to any scene. It'll just work, provided you set your biome up properly. And now it's all super optimized inside of Gaia itself.
And how's this working with GeNa when GeNa goes, well, I'm going to slap down a house and some nonsense in your scenes?
Funny you should ask. How about I do a quick Gaia GeNa demo together?
Why don't you? Why are you not doing that? How dare you not do that already?
Do that in HDRP. I'm going to get out of this demo
Cool.
because it's actually, it's good, but I want to show you cool new stuff.
Do you know, it's almost as like we rehearsed.
It's almost as if we thought, hey, we did this. Let's go new scene. Yeah. This is the thing that's interesting about Gaia Pro as well. And this means that my biome's going to be buggered up.
All right, and tell me when it's safe to show.
Oh, yeah, show.
All right, we show.
Thought you were watching.
Unsub button says, meanwhile, you can do your late night stories. You didn't see last night's stream, did you, Adam? Where I went off on a tangent saying inappropriate real life stories of what goes on in Messi's life. We don't do those on stream. I have those as a private phone call. So
so what? If you subscribe, you can have private.
Yeah, exactly. That's forget hot tub streams. It's and Snapchats. You don't need any of that. It's a direct phone line to Messi's secret conversations.
Messi's messy personal life.
Exactly. Right.
All right.
So you're going to kick up to 1,000 by 1,000.
Just in the instance, in the interest of making it fast. So we're going to use our rather cool world designer again, and let's just, it's done a pretty nice.
What's the biggest you've done? While you're zooming around and showing us, you can talk and fly at the same time. What's the biggest you've done with the world designer compared to the biggest you've done using the old stamper?
I generally didn't do really big environments in the old stamper because there were memory limitations and filling. It was just like such a tedious workflow that I tended not to do it. And I actually haven't let this thing rip because I'm sort of too busy doing stuff. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Damn it. So I can't actually answer that question in a useful way because I really just haven't smashed it.
No, but it is useful because you hit on something where you said the workflow previously with the stamper was tedious, which is, if in chat we were talking about what is the benefits of the 2021 versus the other one, is the removal of the tedium for making large worlds. So we've always aspired to make large worlds, which is why people kept harassing you, much like myself. I was one of those for give me multi-tile support. When's my multi-tile support going? Adam, why haven't you given me multi-tile support yet? So people want big things. Now, in 2021,
now they can have them.
Now they can have a big thing.
And actually, well, we have this sort of bigger vision for where we want to go with our tools, and large world support,
Ooh,
as you know, we've got
can you
Storm.
create underwater flora? That's a fantastic question.
Look, you can. You just have to customize your biomes to spawn underwater.
Well, can you specify then at that height range, under the water
Yeah.
would be a different type of flora?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So
Oh, that's amazing.
now this is a great example. This is Gaia telling me that this texture that this thing's supposed to spawn on is not there, and it's actually given me a warning saying, "Hey, this is wrong. You need to fix it." Unfortunately,
Oh, you've coloured it. You've coloured it different colour background as well. It's lovely.
yeah, that's right. So Gaia tries to give you as much help as it can. So coming back to that question, can you spawn things underwater? Let's try and turn this thing on and maybe choose another texture. Original spawn, reset texture selection. Now let's spawn it on.
Why are you doing that? Don't be cool to ask a question that I refuse to read out because we'll go off on another tangent for about 10 hours. I will leave Brian to answer that in chat. Needless to say, Dan, if you've got big, fancy, powerful PCs, don't show off to everyone because I'm still running on a potato. 64 cores, Threadripper, 128 gig of RAM. Oh my word.
Here we go. So what I've just done is you're asking, can you spawn stuff under the water? So generally we have a height mask so that our stuff, we'll turn off that noise mask. We have a height mask so that stuff only spawns, above, and we set it up so it spawns above the ground. But, here I've turned off my height mask, and there's a collision mask, I'll turn that off. Terrain texture, turn that off. Boop. There we go. So the way Gaia, it gives you, in your spawners, when you set them up, you get the ability to mask out where that asset or that series of assets will be placed in your scene. And we give you this ability to see what it's doing. So you can go, all right, if I want to have stuff that, want a bit of noise, just so I've got that asset in patches, and then I want to add a height mask. Here, our height mask is set relative to sea level, but we can actually drop you down below sea level, and you can see that
Nice.
I am, and then I can go, well, this actually all should be under the sea level. So there we go. Now, when I spawn this asset, which is a fern, would spawn under the sea level. And that's how you do it. It's actually pretty easy to do.
That is nice. Thank you for the question because that was perfect. That was wonderful to see.
Yeah, we actually we need to do a new set of videos and tutorials on the biome generation and how you can actually control this stuff, because it's actually an extremely powerful system, and once you get your head around it, it's very effective. You can do amazing different mixes and matches of things really quickly. This fern, we wanted it to go in a specific texture. We didn't want it to go through trees and other things like in our original setup here. I've now completely messed this setup up. But yeah, so it's, in fact, I'm even going to just turn this. If I go to my biome here, I'm going to disable my fern so that when I do spawn it, it's gone. It won't actually spawn. So I was going to show you GeNa. So here we've got our little environment. Let's very quickly, let's put some cabins. So let's put a church here. So I'm dragging that into my scene here.
So just describe what you've just dragged in. You've just dragged in a spawner of.
So when you get GeNa Pro, what we've done is there's a really awesome free asset called the Flooded Ground Pack. And we've set up a bunch of GeNa spawners that are designed to take advantage of the content in that. And so prior to this, I installed GeNa Pro. Then I installed the content packs for the specialized spawners we set up for Gaia and for GeNa. And I've just dropped them into my scene. So now I've just dragged the church spawner in here, and let's go and place this into our environment. So just boom. Now I didn't upgrade that's like literally that asset, which I did the standard HDRP upgrade because this is designed for built-in. That's obviously got a custom shader on it, so that would need to be manually fixed. That's a third-party asset, so we can't control what people do with their third-party assets, so we can't fix it for you. But easy and simple thing to do. So I just added in a church. What GeNa's actually done is it's flattened the terrain around the church as well, so it all sits nicely. This is all modular. It's made out of pieces, so GeNa's actually assembled that stuff for you. Every time you spawn different aspects of this, it'll be different. So we've added a church.
Chuck another one in.
All right, let's do. Well, no, let's do something else because.
No, I want to see the same church. I want to. You've said something.
It's. Well, okay. You want me to walk my talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's go over here. And where is my church gone? Here it is. All right. Okay, there you go. Boom. Now, if you look closely at some aspects of this, it will be different. Like the interior should be different. So there we've got some stuff on the inside. Let's go and have a look there. And then also, you know, the layout of this stuff, it'll be different as well. Whoop, going a bit fast there. Looks fairly similar. There will be variation there though. And then these will be varying as well. How much variation that is really depends on the asset and the thing we set up for it. I'll show you something else that's really cool. This is in the new version of GeNa, and on this terrain, because it's not very big, probably won't work that well, but we've now got this thing we call Map Builder. And here's my Map Builder. What it is, basically it's a system that looks at your environment and works out where you could actually automatically build towns. It automatically will create roads and bring them all together. And then depending on how you set it up, it will actually then spawn lots and lots of, it'll basically fill in those towns. This Map Builder is actually, or the town building part of Map Builder is extensible. So you can actually put your own city builders into it. So if I go find all areas, I don't know how well it's going to go on such a small map. Not very well at all by the looks. Let's increase that down to say 20 elevation there, maximum. Let's just try that. We might get something. There we go. So look at that. What Map Builder has done is look for areas that are relatively flat, that are 20 meters or smaller. And I haven't got all this stuff set up. We didn't set, this is one of those things you have to set it up yourself. But what you'll also see with the Map Builder is it's worked out where the road networks and the connections would go. You can see that?
Oh, wow.
And if it's probably not going to let me, oh, that's a pity. I have to create my town before I create my road. And I haven't got anything set up, but let's see what happens. Yeah, there's nothing, it's no config set up for this. But basically, after I created my towns, it would place things down, and then I could create my roads, and that would basically automatically connect all this stuff together. It's a very, very powerful system. Let's make our radius, say, 40 instead, and just find areas again. Boom. So now it's actually done an evaluation. Now, on a 1 kilometer environment, not quite so useful, but we're getting closer and closer to build my game. This is an incredible tool and something we'll be doing a lot more with. Now, just pop him out of the road for the moment.
And while you're playing about, in chat, asking about, do we have tutorials for this stuff? So Brian saying, GeNa Pro, you got tutorials on YouTube. Do you have one specifically for that Map Builder? Is that you've got the video tutorials on YouTube?
Yes, there is a video tutorial on YouTube for Map Builder.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So let's just quickly, I mean, you've seen this before, but other people might not have. Go GeNa. Let's add a road spline, and we'll just roads. We can basically manually force roads to go where we want, but we have this other thing which I really love, and it's called pathfinding. If we enable that, it's going to use pathfinding, and it's going to use these settings here to try and optimize and minimize the grade that the road will be. Basically, it assesses your terrain and works out the minimum grade that would be required to get the road from point A to point B. If you think about how roads work in the real world, you're not going to put the road right up the side of a go up at 88 degrees grade type thing up the side of the mountain. The road weaves around the mountain to gradually get up to the top. So that's what we're simulating is that. So if I go click and then click, no path. Okay, so there was the path to and from the grade was a bit steep. So let's increase my maximum grade and try that again.
Oh, lovely.
So GeNa has actually followed the contours of the terrain to work out how to get that road, which I love because it's so interesting what it does.
It makes it look like as though you would do it in real life. Like everyone's been on those paths up to the hill in the village, and they go windy, windy. Like, why are they so windy, windy? It's exactly like that.
Now I know why. Yeah. And let's just
when you said roads, I thought you were about to go roads where we're going. We don't need roads.
New roads.
I thought we were having a Back to the Future moment there. Durgan, I have Easy Roads 3D. How does GeNa Roads compare to that? Well,
I don't really like making comparisons, so maybe you should offer some inputs. Let me show you one of the cool things that it does, which I think is quite nice.
But the comparison I would say is, even what we're seeing now could answer the questions for you.
Yeah.
And if you want to see a far more detailed look at GeNa Pro, luckily in the last sale, Adam was on the stream showcasing GeNa Pro, and we did some roads and we mucked about, and that's on YouTube as well. You can catch that in the highlight section of Twitch, or you can go over to YouTube, !YouTube in chat, and you can catch the video where Adam and me are playing about in GeNa Pro.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting differentiators is obviously you've seen all this pathfinding stuff and carving of your terrain and so on, but these intersections in the real world, you can't just put a prefab down which has got 4 corners and expect that it's going to satisfy the real world. Ours are all dynamically generated. It's an exceptionally powerful system. All right, so the last thing I wanted to do, because we've been talking for a while, is so I've added some roads, I've added some stuff here. Let's actually finish this off. So we'll go to our biome. I turned off my ferns because I messed them up, and now we're going to spawn this biome. Now this may or may not work given that I actually messed up my environment, but let's see. There we go.
Ooh.
Now this is an interesting thing too. See all that white stuff?
Yeah.
Remember, we're in HDRP, and grass doesn't work in HDRP. So when we're in edit mode, we just show you the normal Unity grass. We're not rendering instance and direct or any of that sort of stuff. It's kind of tedious, but when you press play, that's when we're doing all of our stuff. What you can see actually is the magic of Gaia and GeNa working together. Notice how the grass, because it's actually showing it, everything that we've just spawned into our scene to finish it off is automatically avoiding the stuff we've added in with GeNa. So we've modified Gaia and GeNa, so they basically are working perfectly together. So you don't need to worry about clearing grass off your road and all this sort of stuff, or things going into your roads or into your buildings. It's all automated.
And can you extend the what's the word? Either side of the road to say have it cleared either side, like a sidewalk, but not necessarily a sidewalk. You know the word that I'm talking about.
Yes, yeah. So we can clear details and trees further out, and you can. We've got another type of mesh extension called a mesh. Sorry, a spline extension, which allows you to place your own, or basically create your own textures and meshes. So you can basically place them side by side. But what we're going to do is have the ability to do an offset spline, which is perfectly aligned with your original spline, but out by 5 meters or whatever. So then you could do custom mesh extrusions with custom textures and make sidewalks and verges of the edge of the road and all that sort of stuff.
Brilliant. That's the word I was looking for. Verges for the
Verge, yeah. So let me just bearing in mind that let's just go down here.
Oh, pretty.
I notice my road, it's a bit wider than the grass, so I could actually go in and clear that detail out a bit. This is interesting actually. Flora is the underlying flora is not being 100% accurate in the way it's excluding that grass. Easily fixed though. Let's just
while you're fixing it and doing your magic, Gildar's saying, is there a runtime API for road spawning in GeNa Pro? See, that's what I want. I want my city builder game so I can have go click while in runtime and have somebody build a road. So they're a city builder top-down game. Put down your buildings and put down a road. Can I do that?
Yes.
No, seriously.
Yes. So everything we're doing is designed for runtime. There you go. I just cleared those details out a bit more. Let's see how we go now. In fact, GeNa is designed for runtime. And I mentioned that we had this amazing MMO system that's had a lot of development done on it. So here we go. We did a little bit too much. Doesn't matter. Yeah, absolutely. It's designed to do that.
No way. And it will clear the grass as well in runtime?
Yep. All of this stuff works as well at runtime as design time. And it's designed to basically, this is going to be GeNa Pro is going to end up being as powerful as Gaia Pro. You can see those materials haven't been upgraded properly in the Unity upgrade for that asset. This is the flooded grounds pack. Yeah, it's all designed to be like that. Now let's do some photo mode in here. I love photo mode. Get that inflated button.
My jaw just hit the floor. Wow. That's just crazy. Freshman says, I can't, but you can. Can't what? You can't do what? Yeah, and everyone's asking, yes, you can also make rivers in this. Because if you watch the last video, there was rivers. We were carving tunnels through mountains. We were doing all kinds of shenanigans with GeNa.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Where we're going with this stuff is that in the future, you will be able to do all of this stuff at runtime. We've got a new user interface, a runtime user interface that we're building for all of this stuff that will be perfectly optimized for really high fidelity, but easy to use runtime spawning and so on. And the internal previews of this already have been really, really exciting.
It's just nuts. And while you're loading up the picture taker, the magic picture taker that you've got, we got presents to give away today, haven't we?
Ah, yes.
We're gonna give away what 50 copies of each?
No, not a chance. Yeah, you try that old trick with everybody, don't you? Oh, let's just give away the house. No, but I reckon we could certainly give away a couple of copies of a copy of Gaia Pro 2021 and GeNa Pro. And they work,
awesome.
as I mentioned, pretty well together.
So wait. You say a couple copies each, as in a couple Gaias and a couple GeNas?
Okay, you can do 2 of each. There you
Awesome.
go.
And what Gaia Pro 2021? And is there going to be a GeNa? Are you gonna change the name for GeNa Pro to be GeNa Pro 2021 as well? Is this the new naming convention?
No, we're not. Remember, this is really cool. It's remembered my settings from before.
Oh,
That's really cool. What we tend to do, and this, like the whole 2021, it's rather tedious to have to do this. We only do that. We only kick products into that cycle after we have had them out there for a while. So GeNa Pro, we've just launched that. We might we want to leave it out in the asset store at least for a year before we start to do the upgrade process, because we sort of feel that it's fair for our customers. So yeah, it'll be a while before we actually do that.
Shall I start the first raffle then?
Go for it. I'm just going to play with light and my field of view and all that sort of stuff.
You play with your thing while we open up to everyone. So we got the countdown. There's a 5-minute countdown. So put your exclamation mark raffles in, and I'll announce a winner while Adam's talking to himself over there. We'll announce a winner. Then I'll raffle again, and it'll be for the next winner. You can't find what you're looking for. Then we'll do the raffle for GeNa Pro, which will be for pick 2 winners.
Let's see what's going on here. Let's change that to...
Put your exclamation mark raffles in now if you want Gaia. A chance to win Gaia Pro 2021.
So I'm getting a bit of blurriness on that,
if you've got the previous version of Gaia Pro and you hadn't upgraded to the latest one because you missed the free upgrade, now is your chance to get it for free.
Near start and end blur.
If I have both, can I get ambient sounds instead?
So creative.
That's a good question for you. So Adam,
been upgraded.
If Sir Twisted Storm wins,
compose this. This is actually the fun of this sort of stuff as well. Is not sure how well this is coming through with the streaming.
Mate, I got a question for you while you're playing with yourself. Can you hear me? Or are you too distracted? Adam. Adam, can you hear me? His audio's turned off again.
I'm just maneuvering to try and get those materials that haven't been upgraded properly out of the view. It gives you a sense of, chat. With HDRP. Oh, God.
Ping him on his chat on his Discord.
Great looks. Damn it. All right, so playing with your depth of field is really fun as well.
Hang on.
Bringing that further out. So I'm really softening the background, really focusing on this closer stuff. And then let's go and play with that sun.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Adam, can you hear me, mate?
Lost my sound, by the way. So if you've said anything, the reason why I'm monotoning is because my sound went off and I didn't hear you.
We're fully aware that your sound's gone off and you can't hear.
Sound should be back now. Sorry about that. A little technical glitch.
Like we kind of established that your sound went off because we sent Brian off to send you messages, and Brian's gone, he has me on mute. So yes, we were asking you as we're raffling off. Sir Twisted Storm has a request.
Yeah.
Should he win, given that he owns pretty much all of your other stuff, including Gaia Pro 2021 and GeNa Pro, should he win any of the raffle, could he exchange it for ambient sounds?
Sure. Absolutely.
There you go, everyone. That was well worth the comedy gold. Wait, I'm keeping that in when I upload it onto YouTube because it's gold.
I wish I hadn't cleared so much grass there. It's got a bit heavy-handed. I just
Nah,
love
the guy
how
with the guy
creative
with
you
the
can get.
lawnmower. Basically, you know, he's a job's worth. That's what it was. Skiwi says that's a good deal. I don't think technically it's a financial loss or a gain. Messi Coda, tell Adam to bring it in.
Bring it in.
What does that mean?
Yeah, bring it in where? Bring it in, brother.
To bring it in. So you're telling you to come in from the cold? I don't understand. What's he saying? How are we getting on with the giveaway? We've got 29 seconds, 27 seconds. Remember, this is your one chance to enter the raffle for Gaia Pro 2021. So I'm not going to start the raffle again. If you, I raffled, well done, Yana. So do your raffle in, and then we'll announce the winner, and then we'll announce another winner. I already bought it for my stream after next. Well done. I remember when Adam was in Unite Berlin presenting, there was one of the screens named Sexy Messi from his last interview. Is that true? Brilliant. Because I remember when you did Sexy Messi on the stream. Was that in Unite? Was that left in Unite Berlin?
Well, it must have been. Possibly. That Unite, I was so tired. I literally landed in Germany, I think it was the day before, and we had a presentation organized, which I was supposed to do it all based off a video, and the video that was produced for me wasn't demonstrable. So it was a quite interesting time, because then I had to get up, basically put my presentation together on the fly, and I was massively jet lagged. So I was having and going, this stamp, and I don't like that stamp. And I'm sitting there in front of this massive crowd, and I'm going, come on, brain, start working.
Did they not give you the courtesy gallon of iron brew of Red Bull and Coke?
Well, I probably should have got some.
You should have got something. Red Bull and double caffeine. He should have brought me. Yeah, Brian says you should have brought him. We've got another special guest, Backwards Gaming. Sean, I haven't seen you in ages, buddy. How have you been? It says, I just realised what time it was and surprised you guys are still on. Glad I made it in time for the comedy bit. Well, Skiwi says it's scientifically proven that saying good luck increases the chances of winning. So, on that note, good luck to you all. Adam, could you so kindly give me the first drum roll, please? And at the end of the drum roll, you have to do the ksh symbol.
Okay, here we go.
Distant Temples is the first. Oh my! Distant Temples wins everything. We should have put a bet on. We should have put a bet. Is Distant Temples going to win? Because that's crazy. Distant Temples has won the first copy of Gaia Pro 2021. Oh my word. Remember, you need to be a follower. If you haven't clicked follow yet, click the follow button. Otherwise, if I pull your name out, it won't count. It will say you're not a follower. So, next drum roll, please. And tin hat noise.
I tell you what, let's have one more.
The next winner is Wizards Don't Code. I'm sure he already owns this. Oh my word. Congratulations to you both.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Holy moly. And then he just gone and subbed. He just gone and subbed. Wow. Thank you so much. Well, that's congratulations to you both. And now we're going to start off the... I've got to remove the word 2021 because it's not GeNa Pro 2021. It's just GeNa Pro. Thanks to the generosity that is Procedural Worlds. We've got 2 copies of those to give away. That is looking very beautiful, by the way. While we've been chatting and you've been tweaking your settings, that looks very pretty.
Yeah, I love it. It's just so much fun.
But what about time of day? Day-night
Yeah.
cycle and all that stuff.
So we have in HDRP, everything is more challenging. So this is one of our static skyboxes, and I've just messed with the sun. The standard procedural sky from Unity, I think time of day is enabled for that. We had a time of day system and a sky system that we built for the other render pipelines. We're going to revisit that entire thing because the light settings, like the light settings that we set up in Gaia Pro for HDRP, in the other, like with the static systems, are realistic. They're basically based on how light works in the real world. But because between HDRP and, built-in is nothing like real-world light settings. And in order to get the right lighting off of your assets and so on in HDRP and with PBR and so on, you need to basically rejig. So we're not going to, at least in the short term, rejig all that stuff just because it's just a huge amount of work. I wish I hadn't messed up my biome. Then you'd have really lots of lovely grass.
Do you know what? I'm loving that big purple grass because it shows up on the teams and over the stream.
Yeah.
So it's colourful and you can see it. So I like it. Thank you, by the way, for the sub, Sean. Backwards Gaming. Thank you, buddy. Coming with the cheers and Goku. Happy little, exactly. It's a happy little accident. Now you do give yourselves more work to do because I mean you're making water, lighting, sounds, the whole shebang. Previously, when people say, "Would this work with Gaia?" the answer was always yes, because all Gaia's doing is modifying the Unity terrain, and and that's it. Whereas now, Gaia's doing a lot more than that. Like if we were saying that if all Gaia's doing is generating you some terrain and away you go, then I could load up Gaia Pro 2021 in a Unity 2020, make my terrain, save my project, and then load it up, copy it over, and load it up into a Unity of 2019. But you've got a lot more. Going on
HDRP, it's still all standard Unity. Even like our well, actually, it's sort of not now because Unity HDRP doesn't do grass, right? Now you can see we've got grass running quite nicely in HDRP. So that's our own grass shader. Our trees, they're also our own shaders as well. But you don't need to use our assets, right? You can put your own assets in and do whatever the hell you please. Gaia will still happily go and pour all that stuff into your scene, and so will GeNa Pro.
We have
as
happy
well.
accidents.
So, it's we provide these extra things, but you don't have to use them. Gaia will still happily shape terrain, texture it, put whatever tree, whatever prefab you want into it. It's just that in order for people to have a good experience out of the box, sort of like what you're seeing here, we've provided with a bunch of sample stuff.
Mistakes.
And then the problem we had is, Unity doesn't have a water solution, so we need water. Unity doesn't have a grass solution that runs in HDRP, so we need grass. And then, Unity really, in my opinion, dropped the ball on their terrain system because their trees don't even work. Like Speed Tree doesn't work. So the things we've added because Unity in its current state doesn't have them.
And it's crazy.
And it's a really interesting thing from my perspective as an asset publisher. We're sort of we're very strong from an engineering perspective, And now we have a couple of amazing technical artists on the team as well, so we've got more strength on the shader side. But it's been a hideously expensive process for me to generate the content, generate the shaders, make them actually reasonably robust and useful, and then support them across Unity versions, across render pipeline versions. And then we deliver all of that in, you know, one integrated product. That's you know, that's one of the reasons why Gaia's priced like it is, because it's got all these systems. It's got a streaming system, it's got vegetation systems, now grass control systems, lighting systems, time of day systems, water systems. I already said streaming. And then, of course, it does what it was intended. And by the way, it also creates terrains. That's, yeah, even sound systems are built into Gaia Pro. There's VFX, like you can see in the background there, there's lots of little particles floating around. They're all dynamically spawned into your scene. There's a lot of stuff that's sitting in this product.
Now, first, before I go off even more, massive thanks to Night Shadow for gifting sub to Tim and Freshmeat for gifting a sub to Tark. Now, you don't have aliens working for you that have a knowledge that nobody else in the world has, and your guys don't work for Unity and don't have access to a load of secret information. So there's no reason on God's green earth why Unity can't do this stuff themselves. And to put this in the most politest way, Adam, they've got a bit of a bigger budget than you have. So
yeah,
it beggars belief, but it also makes sense that you are actually, it's somewhat your fault and the asset store and all the rest of the asset publishers' fault, because Unity's policy seems to be, we will make the foundation of the house, but we won't put any walls up, we definitely won't put any wallpaper in, and we are most definitely not going to put any furniture in the house. If you want all that stuff, you can do it yourselves. And that's kind of like where it is. And at this point, the foundation started to crack, and they're like, we're not even going to fill in the foundations that have cracked. You can do it for us instead. And because you do it, you know, you're basically enabling this mentality from Unity that they're not doing that themselves. Okay, you're getting paid for it. You know, you're getting money. You're not doing it out the kindness of your own heart. But if everyone stopped making assets for the asset store, then they would have to do it themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of interesting things you said there. We are actually quite well connected with Unity. We're a Unity publisher. Well, obviously we're a Unity publisher. We're also a Unity partner, so we have worked and collaborated on projects with Unity for their customers. That doesn't mean that we also have the information we have access to is what Unity partners get access to. But that doesn't really necessarily translate into, oh, here's this weird thing and here's how to fix it. We basically, you know, we're still largely you know, we do it ourselves. And, you know, you know, part of me goes, I've just invested all this money. You can see in the background that there's water going on and there's all this other stuff happening. And I know that Unity's coming, right? They're not going to sit here and not do this. They're a business, and now they're a public company. They have to do for the game engine what is best for Unity. So, you know, the gaps, you know, they say, and they do, they're solving the hard problems. We wouldn't have this opportunity to have a business or to add value on top of Unity if they didn't do what they do. So, you know, in some ways, yes, Unity should absolutely have a good water shader. Why not? And why isn't their terrain system running so much better than it does right now? It's coming. It's just not here yet. So in the meantime, that creates opportunities for us. And then that also creates risks for us because we've done all this work. And then what happens when Unity just replaces it with something that's going to do that job instead? The way I look at it is we want to take what Unity is doing for us and we want to add value on top of it. And, you know, that's how I think this relationship works.
And that leads us to a lovely part about another relationship where Procedural Worlds have given us raffling tickets to give away. So, for drum roll, please, Mr. Goodrich.
Oh.
Baroque Dub, you are a winner. Congratulations, Baroque Dub. Baroque Dub, you're going down in the book. You have won GeNa Pro. Oh wow! Oh no, I've already got it. Swap it for Ambient Skies. Seriously?
Yeah, just drop me whatever afterwards, and I will make it so.
There you go. And Nick, I need another drum roll, please. Kamal has won. Kamal, have you already got it? Have you already got it, Kamal? What I would say is, Adam, as GeNa Pro is such a huge, amazing asset, and Ambient Skies is as lovely as it is. If Baroque Dub doesn't already have one of the other ones as well, could he swap it for one of the other ones as well, like Ambient Skies plus maybe Pegasus or Ambient Sound? Ambient Sound is lovely.
Yeah, no worries.
Lovely. See, look.
I just love playing with this color. It's so beautiful.
Look, everyone, this is the opportunity. If you want anything from Adam, okay, you just need to time it for when he's in the happy zone playing with the lighting settings in Gaia Pro 2021. Okay? That's all we got to do. So this is the opportunity. If you've been wanting something from Adam, time it now, and let's ask him. Bogdan said, "Thanks, Messi. You're a good salesman. I am a good salesman. Give me an exclamation mark Gaia in chat, an exclamation mark Gaia Pro in chat, an exclamation mark GeNa in chat, an exclamation mark GeNa Pro in chat, and an exclamation mark, more importantly than all of those, Proc Shop in chat, because Proc Shop, he's actually got a sale on at the moment on the Procedural World shop, and if you do buy stuff from the Procedural World shop, then you're also given the extra 30%, which otherwise Procedural Worlds would lose in commission to Unity, stays in their pocket, like Davy Crockett. That £5 note stays in my pocket. No, Sengoku it's not Cascade. It's Proc Shop. And bizarrely, I don't think that we can. Oh no, if somebody's already written GeNa, then yeah, it won't come up again. Damn people. He's on mute every time he goes to photo session.
Oh no, it's just you're talking. I don't think I'm on mute.
No,
am I muted?
No, you're just being polite, is what it is. Now,
yeah, I was being polite.
Yeah.
That's that thing that happens.
I know Australians aren't known for it. It's not a characteristic trait that is synonymous with Australians, but it is true. They can do it. We did leave some things from the colonies. I've got a request to you from Brian where he says, now I have to make Adam rap.
No, I'm not rapping. I cannot rap. I can't sing. I don't do it. Not going to do it.
If you hadn't already given us 4 massive prizes to give away, then yeah, I would make you sing, because my thing now is making everyone sing. But
yeah,
you've been very generous,
sing.
So you got away with it.
For I just can't sing.
Oh, Yonan asks, what does this scene look like from the other direction? Can you turn the camera 180 degrees? Oh,
it's actually really beautiful.
And I love the butterflies that come in that you can see every now and again.
Yeah, that's the VFX and the particle effects that are spawned into your scene. Let me get that tree in, because I quite like that tree as well. Man, I just love playing with the light and this stuff. How beautiful is this? And then, let's got that one tree.
We're going to go nighttime and have fireflies floating in the sky as well.
A little bit of a forest going on here. Let's have a look down here.
Tim Spurgeon says, I will sing for a copy of Gaia Pro.
So, this is the fantastic thing about HDRP. All of this stuff is just coming out of the box.
Wizard says, I'm going to have fun playing with this and the oil painting filter. Is motion blur on, or is it the 680 stream? It's Teams.
It's just the streaming.
It's Teams. I'm seeing the motion blur because it's Teams.
The thing that's happening here is on my screen, it's fine. It's just you're not seeing it. Even just doing things like that. Now let's change the light in this. I mean, well, I'm just playing now. This between the new grass, the new in HDRP, the HDRP lighting, we could increase the ambient light just to get bring a bit more detail out there. There's just so much you can do.
I tell you what. Let's have one.
Thank you for the follow. Can I? I've got a request, right? I'm going to give you a scenario before we hang up the phone. Right now, these settings that you're playing here,
might end, mate.
yeah, exactly. These settings that you're setting now, and then when you click the close button, they'll save because you've selected that menu which doesn't say reset on right. Save those settings to a profile. Okay. Now change the profile name, make a new profile from within the lighting settings, and set those values, or do it, outside of here. So you've got a method where you can say parameter override sun is enabled, rotation, blah blah blah, and then have like in the event system, if I hit a trigger, it will hit and change the profile to that settings. And then I hit another trigger, and then I can use a method and hook into your API and then change the settings again, rather than have to use the lighting settings slider every time.
Well, leave $20 on the fridge and I'll consider it.
But you're telling me that that will be a game changer.
Because it would be a very handy thing.
What we said earlier, this of what you've built here recreates, people can make this themselves in their, in a lot of these settings. You can
this is all standard Unity. We're just setting things and letting you play with them.
But what you've done is you've made it approachable and easy to use, and importantly, intuitive.
Ultra.
So now what we need to do is hook into the work that you've done to basically convert the language of how the heck do I do that into look how easy it is. And then we go, you know what, I'm not going to dial into Unity's settings. I'm dialing into Procedural World settings that in turn will dial into Unity's. So I can understand how to talk to Procedural Worlds. Procedural Worlds knows how to talk to Unity. All I need to do is worry about how to talk to Procedural Worlds. That's one of the huge benefits and the strengths of what you guys do.
This is sort of fun too. You can modify the colors. It's just so much fun. It's a bit not very useful now, but if you're doing a stylized look, there's a lot of stuff you can do here. And you can take a photo. Boom. Save to Gaia, use screenshots.
Nice. Love it. I love it.
All right. There you go. So that was Gaia Pro, GeNa Pro. We talked a bit about what's coming with Connect.
The Make My MMO button.
Make My MMO. That's right.
Snap Builder. Is it called? It's called Snap Builder or Snaps? What is it called?
It's called Snap Builder, and basically it's a tool that lets you snap stuff together and procedurally, well, actually manually. It's a combination of manual and procedural actually, because we're plugging GeNa Pro into that as well. But it'll be a really beautiful runtime UX, which will allow you to, we're calling them sessions. You'll be able to start with your base environment, create a session, and go and add a bunch of stuff and modify your environment, and then save your session. And then you can load sessions at any point in the future. So that means that you can have multiple setups and multiple environments running in your MMO, which means you can, create events and have special environments just for that event. We're going to plug in commerce, so you can actually then, monetize your environment. So let's say you're an artist and you want to create a special event like a concert, then, so yeah, there's a lot of interesting thinking there, which we are working hard to bring to the community.
I can't wait. I am tingling with excitement. I was trying to find a word that's PG-13, and that's the best that I could come up with, because that's how excited I am. It's going to be game changing.
Well, imagine this. Imagine we had the messy MMO, and the people that subscribe to your Twitch stream get to hang out, and we all get to hang out and run around, and we've got a big video screen in the corner which is showing your current Twitch, and then what the rest of the world sees is your Twitch stream, but your subscribers and special people who want a richer experience and a more social experience and want to play, then they get a version. They can, the rest of the Twitch world gets your Twitch stream, but those people get your environment and your personal experience. I think that's actually pretty special, and that's what we're aiming to bring to the world.
And yes, I have imagined that from our previous conversations. That's what I've been waiting to come to pass. It's like the Second Life. What was that project? Whatever it was called, back in the day. Those Swiss people. No, it was Norwegian, whoever they were. That made it, which on old technology had an idea that could have done that. They just couldn't pull it off. Now, 2021, make my game button, Procedural Worlds, MMO, VR chat meets Twitch. It's gonna be huge. I'm counting the days, buddy. Literally.
Yeah, well, so are we. But it's going to be exciting stuff. We have big plans for this stuff in the future, and GeNa Pro is going to be we've got Gaia, which will do a lot of amazing work, and we're bringing some of that tech into GeNa Pro, and it'll all be runtime. So in the not too distant future, you'll actually be able to create your entire world at runtime, and then wrap an MMO around it and give people tools to modify it and hang out and have fun.
Awesome. All right, buddy, I'm going to let you go because it's 12:30 my time, and we try to keep it down to an hour and a half, but as always, we just start playing, nattering. You like tweaking your settings, and I go on a tangent about how the world sucks and we need more make my game buttons, and purple grass and big purple flowers. By the way, if people are watching, it's nighttime and there's fireflies dancing about inside Gaia, and that is those are fireflies provided by Gaia Pro. Those aren't fireflies provided by anyone else. They're Gaia Pro butterflies and fireflies. It's lovely.
Actually, one big shout out, and that is the building you can see there. These are samples from the exteriors kit from 3D Forge. So if you want some really lovely medieval stuff, go and check 3D Forge out for their 3D Forge exteriors and interiors. That's it's one of the sample bits of content that come from other publishers in Gaia Pro as well. We've got some great stuff from some textures from Nature Manufacture, some grasses from Turbo Scalper. I think the rest is pretty much ours now. But yeah, there's some great other little teasers for other cool asset publishers there as well.
Oh man, brilliant. Well, we're going to have you back on when you have the next toys to play with. I'll let you go play baseball with the kids. Thank you so much again for popping in, and thank you for kicking off the new series of Messi's Lab Dev Interviews on the Messi Girl live on Twitch.
Thanks, mate. Always enjoy chatting to you, and I hope everybody enjoyed the cool new stuff that I demonstrated.
If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now, and down below there's that big juicy subscribe button, and right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.